Hey, this is Jack from Alpha Charts with a state of the market video. Today is October 7th, 2023. Before we get started, this video is for educational purposes only. These are not recommendations to buy, sell, or hold any stock or security. Now, I may hold positions in some of the equities mentioned. Know your time frame and risk tolerance. All right. Thank you for watching the videos. Let us get into the charts. S&P 500, SPY. Big day on Friday, big up day, up 1.19%. And that's a great start because the expectation was that this was going to go lower, right? At least that was my expectation, that this was going to break the 200 and go lower. And why was that the expectation? Well, we have a series of lower highs and lower lows, right? Underneath declining moving averages. If there's nothing that says that the 200-day and the VWAP from the beginning of the year is going to hold. And we still don't know that it's going to. We're still underneath most of the moving averages, the 23 and the 50 specifically, and the 50 being a big one. And 50 days ago is this bar right here, July 27th. And so we're going to start to see this 50-day really start to accelerate potentially to the downside unless price can get back above it. So it's definitely something I'm watching. It's a great first day for the market, but not I'm not 100% convinced as of yet that it is a that this is the bottom, right? This is a bottom. I don't know if it's the bottom yet, but it was a good day. Almost 1.2%. Looking at the RSP was up 0.85. Again, shows a little bit of divergence between the cap weighted and the equal weighted. Also, you're going to get, again, the acceleration being 50 days ago, acceleration of this 50-day crossing the 200 on the equal weighted. And that's just, it's a very bearish omen, right? It doesn't have any meaning per se, but usually it's a bearish omen. That's what they call it, a death cross or something like that. And so it's going to happen on the equal weight. And price still hasn't got above the 9-day EMA. Again, a little bit weaker. And so that is part of my caution. You also have now, you kind of see it here. You're getting this expanding pattern here. And then now I'm going to see which way it breaks. Now, if this does break to the upside out of here, that could be one of the things that gets me much, much more bullish. So definitely something I'm watching. Let's look at the Qs. Again, Qs held where they technically, we were watching, where we said it was really important, this 351-ish area, right? We've talked about that in the past. And it is so low there, 355.14, low 354. So yeah, so we did get a bullish outside reversal. And you could kind of see this also has a broadening type pattern in it. I don't know, something like that, I'm probably drawing this terribly, but something like that, right? And I don't have to go all the way here. I can just do that. It's fine. The point is that this is expanding, and listen, it gets above 368, and I think we should, we got to flip the script to a much more bullish stance, no doubt. I'm just not ready to call it yet. Big day though in the Nasdaq, up 1.68%. Looking at the equal weighted Qs, up 1.72. So right there, that was nice to see that you had broad participation in this rally, as they're saying. Again, 73-ish was the area that we were really watching. There was your 200-day coming right there. And again, it held, which was really, really nice. You could definitely, draw something like this, and you could draw something like this even, right? And then you kind of have a channel-ish area to work with in a lot of ways. So, we'll see what happens. Here comes the 50-day again, right around 75, 78 or so. or 76.70, sorry, 76.70. And we'll see as it builds it out. We still have lower highs and lower lows showing on the chart. So again, as much as I want to be bullish, because I'd rather be bullish, I still need to see some more constructive action on the chart. I'm not willing to call it the bottom. Anybody that does call this the bottom, I think it's just premature. It could be, then they may be right. I just think it's premature. Looking at the mid caps, again, there's your 50 days ago. Your 58 is screaming lower on the mid caps. This is equal weighted by nature. And again, still hasn't retaken the 9-day. So there is some issues there. And you could kind of see the broadening pattern. It's kind of like this-ish. So again, volatility is coming. Don't know which way. And then let's look at IWM. Here's your IWM. This is just really in a range. We talked about the falling wedge right into support. So this is not like unexpected that we get a snapback. The question is, how far does this go, right? Does this go all the way up into the moving averages, 178? Does it go to 200 where the falling 50 is, around 182 or so? Or does this fizzle out and then we just go back down to the lows? We don't know yet. It's still within the channel. Again, still making lower highs and lower lows. Let's just expand this to make it easier to see. Lower highs, lower lows. And that's what we have. Again, is it a constructive? Absolutely, it's constructive because the expectation was it was going to break down. Again, and we haven't done that yet. So that's a positive. So that was that's the indexes. Again, constructive, but not. But for me, I need more evidence before I commit to a more bullish posture. Let's look at the XLF next. So again, it's a good day. It was up 0.81. Some people may say this is a bear flag, right? I don't know if it is or isn't. We won't know that until it potentially breaks. But I could see, I can make the argument that that's a bear flag, right? We'll see. If it can break to the upside, it's not. If it breaks to the downside, well, then it probably is, and we're probably retesting that $30 level again. So that's definitely something I want to watch. But again, constructive. SMH, probably the most bullish of all the charts because it's going to challenge its 50-day first. And you do want to see SMH leading. It was up to over 2%, so it was leading on the day as well. The short-term moving averages look like they're curling up. They are. So again, this is probably, if you want to be on the bull side, the most bullish phenomenon, and you could have a nice little double bottom look to it here. Your traditional breakout will be this 157, but I like this trend line. I can use a downtrend line potentially for an early entry. And this looks again, if price gets above 150-ish, it's gonna be hard not to be at least a little bit bullish, right? Again, we do have the lower highs and lower lows that are still intact on the chart though. So we have to break that pattern for an uptrend to resume. And that's it. Right? I mean, that's the truth. I mean, that's just what it is. Lower highs and lower lows are still established until they're not. And that's what we're watching for. Let's look at IYT transports. Again, underneath the 200-day, good first day, has a falling wedgish look as well, but needs to, again, regain these moving averages. Looking at the equal weighted, looks exactly the same. Looking at, I can do equal weight semiconductors. I like to look at those too. Not quite as bullish as the cap weighted, but it did very well. So you see it was broad-based buying. But again, getting nice and loose in here. So that is going to say probably a big move is coming. The positive is that it tried to push down and couldn't and went higher on a lot of these charts. And that's the positive, right? That's the bullish scenario. But we do need to see it actually work, right? You need to make a higher high. Even here, make it higher high. Get above 200. Get above the 200 day. That's something. Let's look at housing. Housing again, nice day, but only 0.49, and everything looks like it's moving lower. So we have to be very careful with that. That was but it's sitting right at the 200, and the 200 held. Lower volume, but 200 held. And then let's look at XHB right over here. Got down to right around the 200. Again, this bullish outside day. Again, in a broadening formation. We know broadening from yeah, it's broadening. More like that, right? Something like that. Broadening formation. And so expect more volatility to come. A break of the trend lines is what we're watching more for confirmation at this point. So a lot of these broadening formations have formed. Volatility is coming, and that is, again, you can start to nibble bullish, but I would just be careful going all in bullish until we get some sort of confirmation. I'm going to go to Trading View and do some of the breadth studies and the internals. We had a spike in the VIX up to almost 20. It came back down to 17. So it came in some, but again, we're not seeing these huge spikes that we've seen in the past. So not much of a signal because it's not extreme. Looking at credit spreads, these were starting to move as well. Expectation was it was going to move higher. It came back in some. So now there's a very significant high there at 155-ish. This top end of 155. If it does break out, it likely will go to the top of this range. And then we will see what happens at that point. But again, not extreme in any way, shape, or form. Let's do percent of stocks above the 50-day. It's a nice breadth indicator. Again, breadth did improve some, but still only 21% of stocks are above their 50-day. A lot more work needs to be done. I want to see this make high, get above, at least get above 25, right? Make a higher high. That would be something in this. Then looking at the put call ratio, we did get a couple extreme readings, which is nice. I still think we're in a situation more like this at the end of 2022. And so, we may have one more spike if it does, it doesn't have to have one more spike, but again, it rhymes so far pretty nicely with this time period. And so, I'm watching that for maybe one more shake. But again, put call ratio, this kind of stuff, secondary to the price action, 100%. These are just like, okay, it's we made this, maybe the shakeout we were looking for right there, right? On Wednesday. I don't know. But maybe it rhymes more with this and we get one more rather large shakeout. Looking at the dollar, because everything's been all about the dollar. And again, the uptrend's there. There's your trend line, and it touched it and stopped right there. I don't know if it'll break the trend line and what this 105, 70-ish area is going to be a very key. If it gets back in here, that's the bullish scenario. This was a whoopsie breakout, just like this was a whoopsie breakdown. And I think things are absolutely fine still. If this bounces and we get a move higher, that's the bearish scenario, right? And then looking at the 10-year yield, it tried to move higher. It did a little bit, but did not get as far as it tried to get. But listen, it's marching its way. 5.1. I think that's getting baked in. I think, and the sooner it gets there, I think, that may be the, maybe we get one more move higher that makes sentiment go really crappy. We got a shakeout. And then maybe that's the last leg down and things are bullish again. I think that is the most likely scenario in the market. I know it goes against what a lot of people are saying, and that's okay because I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong, but if we get one more push down, shake out below the 200, everyone gets very bearish, and then we pop back up, that would be, that would be the one that hurts the most, right? Because underneath the 200, everyone's like, okay, the world is ending. And that may be what we see. So, and the Qs, let's go into the Qs. You know, maybe it comes down and tests its 200 or in this 335 level, you know, and that would be, again, that would all kind of coincide together. That's the one possible scenario. The other possible scenario is that this holds and we go higher. So I'm still a very neutral. I'm not bearish. I'm neutral this market. I'm almost 100% cash still. I want to see some proof. If this is the bottom, by the way, if this is the bottom, there is plenty of time for you to get involved. This is a nothing moment, right? And if you're wrong and this isn't the bottom and you go lower and you're all in, then you could potentially lose quite a bit, right? Unless you manage your risk really well. So again, incremental exposure probably makes sense here. Buying the best names that held up the best. I have a pretty decent list of them, which I'll share tomorrow on my stocks to watch video. And but there's some really nice ones that are holding up well and have moved well, actually. So we'll be watching those. Anyway, hope this video finds everyone good. Find me on Twitter at AlphaCharts365. And I hope you guys are doing great. Thanks, bye.